morning. I'm Jessica Williams, and welcome to Living Local 15. It's time to grab your cup of coffee and have a seat because we have a great show for you today. But first, did you know that today was Pay It Forward Day? I love when this day comes around because it's a great opportunity to share, care, and do something nice for others. Whether it's buying someone a cup of coffee or showing an extra burst of kindness, it's all about going out of your way to make someone else's day better in hopes that they will pass that joy you gave them to the next person. Can you imagine how magical the day would be if everyone was tripping over themselves trying to help the next person have a good day? That will be so cool to see. On today's show, we are kicking off our beauty series, giving you an exclusive look into the hottest treatments everyone's raving about. And this one's a good one. I'm taking you inside of Belle Sante Med Spa to experience Coolsculpting. I ask all the questions and get the answers. Plus, I try it out for the first time myself. And later, I'm giving you my honest opinion. And of course, today is Women's Wealth Wednesday, and Foster Financial is back to discuss an interesting fact that women apparently keep more of their savings in cash than investment options. We'll get some sound advice from them a little later. Let's get started.
Fashion, food, and fun. You're watching Living Local 15 with your host, Jessica Williams.
This segment sponsored by Belle Sante Med Spa. I am so excited to kick off our beauty series at Belle Sante Med Spa. Joining me right now is Kathy Bussey, who is a body sculpting specialist. Hi, Kathy.
Hi, how are you? I'm good, how are you?
Good. Okay, so we're kicking off getting ready for the summer and just getting our bodies right and tight. And I know that a very popular, non-invasive procedure is Coolsculpting.
Yes.
So can you first share with us, what is Coolsculpting?
Sure. Coolsculpting basically takes the place of liposuction without any downtime, without any invasiveness, no anesthesia. It's something that someone can come in and have done and then leave here and go about their day without any downtime, missing work. Which is very important because we see a lot of women and men with very busy schedules.
Right, and this opportunity really focuses on that stubborn fat,
yes,
right? It's
absolutely.
Like you do your normal weight loss work, but then sometimes there's just pockets of fat. It's like, why are you here?
Yes.
Why won't you go away?
Yes, correct, exactly. And that is very true. I mean, people can work out and they can work out, and then there's certain areas that are just stubborn and they won't react to just working out. So what we can do here is to help you with those stubborn areas and basically treat whatever area is your concern. And I think of it as kind of like a jump start to get that person going to really focus on the health in their body and, you know, getting themselves going back to the gym.
Okay, that's great, because that's really important.
It is very important.
This is not a replacement. This is not lipo surgery. It is literally just a little boost to help you work on target areas to continue your health journey.
Correct. So I always tell my clients that what you do when you leave here is just as important as what I do here when I'm with you, because you need to, if you're investing in your body, you need to take that outside of Belle Sante and really take it seriously and keep healthy and keep going with your exercise.
Okay, that's great. So share with us, how does it work? So Coolsculpting, I'm thinking it's going to be cold.
It's cold, yes. We're basically going to freeze whatever area we're treating. We're going to be bringing your temperature down to a negative 11 degrees. And that is where they have done a lot of studies that show that is the temperature we need to get to in order to get rid of those fat cells, to kill those fat cells without injuring anything in the area.
Okay.
So basically I'm bringing you down to a negative 11 degrees.
Okay.
And that's going to freeze the fat. And then once you're done with the session with each area, it's very important that at that time that I massage you for 3 minutes. And that part can be a little uncomfortable for my clients because At first you're still numb,
Yes.
but then as we massage for the 3 minutes, you're becoming unnumb, and that can be uncomfortable. But it's extremely important process of it.
Okay, and the freezing part, is that painful?
It's not, the first 10 minutes is a little uncomfortable because you're getting cold, but after 10 minutes, you're numb, you don't feel anything. So basically you're sitting there, you can be on your phone, you can be doing work, you can be watching TV.
Yes.
And after that, you're not gonna feel anything.
Okay, so the treatments, let's talk about that.
Yes.
How long, so once you get set up, how long are you doing the freezing for?
It depends on the area.
Okay.
Generally, most of the areas that we treat are 35 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so there's several areas we can treat, and we have several machines. So if it's allowable, we can treat 2 areas at one time, which saves a lot of time for people.
Right, yeah, so let's
Yes.
talk about that. Where can it be treated? So, of course, when people have probably seen Coolsculpting commercials and it's on the app,
Yes,
right? Of
yes.
course, that is a lot of problematic areas for most folks.
Most.
But there's other areas that people like to treat.
Yes.
So can you share with me what they are?
Of course, sure. I mean, we can start anywhere. We can just go through the body. Coolsculpting can treat what's called the submental area, which is the chin, the double chin. We can treat underarms, which we call our bat wings that we all have, that are very hard to get rid of even through workout.
Right.
We can treat the back fat, bra fat, flanks, abdomen, inner and outer thighs. So basically there's a lot of different areas that we can treat.
Yes, what are flanks?
Flanks are what you call that little muffin top right here,
Oh,
that
okay,
kind of
the
hangs
little hip
over and you're like,
here,
oh, I
okay.
want to get rid of that. So kind of like a tire here, but the muffin top is what we call your flanks. So
Okay,
yeah.
and then how many sessions does one typically have?
That always varies, because each individual, obviously their body type, their body, how much bulk they want to lose, things like that. So we always have someone come in for a free consultation. And we make sure first and foremost that they're a candidate, because there's 2 types of
Right.
fat, right?
Okay.
So you have subcutaneous fat, which is pinchable, grabbable. I can treat that.
Okay.
But if a lot of men, I don't want to say just men, but have more of a visceral fat, which is really taut and kind of hard, that's not a candidate for Coolsculpting.
Okay. Okay.
So you have to have subcutaneous fat.
Okay, and after one treatment, so after you do that assessment, some people may only need one treatment, is that correct?
It's yes, if they only have a tiny little bit to debulk. Normally people need to have 2 to 3, depending on how much bulk they want to get rid of.
Okay.
Coolsculpting is not a weight loss program,
Right.
because our fat cells don't really weigh a lot. But it's a debulking of that area, so your pants, things are going to start feeling better. So it's more like inches. It's going to start feeling and fitting better.
Okay. Well, guys, I am going to be the guinea pig for the Coolsculpting procedure. I'm really excited. I've never had this done before, and so I'm going to give an authentic experience and reaction to what it feels like.
Yes.
And I'm going to take you on this journey. So let's do it.
Sounds good.
So during this 30-minute process of the cooling, it's happening. I can feel it. It's actually not painful yet. It just feels really cold. Has it gotten to freezing level yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Probably in about 5 more minutes you should
Okay.
start to feel it, yes.
Okay,
for
so
sure.
underneath me of this big bulkiness is the applicators, as well as a pillow that they have here to support me. And so Kathy, kind of share, like, what will I experience over the next 30 minutes?
Okay, so the next 30 minutes, basically, in about 5 more minutes, you're going to be completely numb. You're not going to feel anything at all. So that's why we say you can just kind of lay back and do what you need to, if you want to do some work or watch Netflix, whatever you want to do for that 35 minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, you're not going to really feel a lot while you're having it done. It's when we take it off is when we're going to have to massage, and that's a little bit more uncomfortable.
Painful, okay. And I'm
Yes.
sure people come in with the craziest questions.
Yes.
And they're probably like, okay, what is this procedure? So can you share some of the crazy stuff?
Well, a lot of people are not, one of the first things they ask, I think, is they think that once the fat cells are killed, that they're going to go somewhere else on their body.
Okay.
So, I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, they do. It's like I said, it's not going to end up on your arms or your legs. Once we freeze that fat, it is dead, and that's when we disperse it while we're doing the massaging, and that will go into your lymphatic system, and then you will naturally eliminate the fat cells over time. It's a gradual process.
Yes.
It's just something that your body will eliminate on its own. You will never have the same amount of fat cells in that area ever, because we already, by adolescence, we've already established all of our fat cells. We don't grow more fat cells. What happens is with age and gaining weight, those fat cells are kind of like a little balloon and they expand, and then we start seeing the bulging. So the areas that I'm treating you today, you're going to eliminate around 20 to 25% of those fat cells. Those fat cells will never be in that area again, but you will still have the remainder there, right?
Okay, yeah.
So I always tell my clients too that you need to remember that you will never have the same amount of fat cells, but you will still have some fat cells left.
And that doesn't mean you're not going to gain weight in that area anymore, or does it mean that?
No, what it means is that if you decide to not follow what you're doing right now when you come and see me, as far as a good diet, exercise, the fat cells that remain, if you decide I'm just going to go eat fast food, every day, those fat cells that are there still are going to balloon, and then you're going to start seeing bulging again.
Oh, okay.
Your optimal results with Coolsculpting are 3 months past your last visit with me.
Oh, okay.
So at 3 months, you'll come back from your last visit. We'll take pictures again, and then we will compare those side by side to see the difference between the first time I see you today and then 3 months out.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Awesome.
So we will see.
Yes.
Okay.
All done. Feeling good. Feeling good. All right, I did it. And as I promised, I would give you my assessment. So here it goes. So I had that Coolsculpting treatment about 3 weeks ago, and I must say it was very intriguing. It's almost like the concept of cryotherapy or ice baths that proves that cold temperatures can treat the skin in various ways. The treatment was quick. It was not invasive, which means nothing poked or pricked inside of me. Everything was done externally on the outside of the skin. They basically put these applicator pads on my stomach, which grabbed the target areas and started to freeze them. Then the freezing process is only 30 minutes, and then 2 specialists comes in and applies pressure to the area, massaging the frozen fat, which can be released through your lymphatic system, which is a natural way to dissolve fat, either through sweating or going to the restroom. It gets released from your body. Now, the freezing part was not painful at all. The only part that did give me pain and discomfort was the final minute of that 3-minute massage that they had to do at the end. And they did warn me it would be discomfort. But also, I'm a side sleeper, so I did have to adjust the way that I slept for the first week until the numbing went away, so that I wouldn't wake up in pain, or I would just take a couple of Advil. But there was 0 downtime, and I was able to return to work the next day, just taking it slow. Now, they did say that it would take up to 3 months to see desired results, but I have to say, I started seeing results after the first week. And I know that as I continue to work out, I'm going to see more results. So that's really exciting. I didn't really know what to expect trying this out, but I thought it would be helpful to give you an inside look of this popular procedure. For more information or questions about Coolsculpting, contact Belle Sante Med Spa and enjoy a complimentary consultation. We'll be right back. This segment sponsored by Belle Sante Med Spa.
Follow us on social media at Living Local 15.
This segment sponsored by Foster Financial. Today is Women's Wealth Wednesday, and every other week we come together with Foster Financial to help women improve their financial education. I'm so excited that Caleb Doan is here. Hello.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to dive right in because this is very interesting. So apparently women tend to keep more of their savings in cash than in banks or stock portfolios. Why is that?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think basically this was spurred on because there's some different studies done of just how men and women kind of differ and how they save for retirement, and they ultimately found that women keep a larger percent of their portfolio or kind of their net worth just in cash in the bank as opposed to in the stock market.
Yes.
And I think, there's other studies that show generally women investors maybe have a slightly lower risk tolerance than a lot of men. They're not anxious to go, hit the slot machine or whatever it might be. So, that kind of shows part of the reason. But I think it's important to identify, does that make sense? Like, is it good for, people to keep a larger percent of their portfolio in cash as opposed to investing in the market? And so there's really, maybe one key benefit of doing that, and then there's a couple key risks that make sense to talk about for women keeping more cash in the bank. And so
what's the benefits of it?
Yeah.
Is it, I would assume to have money in case an emergency happens or have quicker access without it being tied up?
That's exactly right. Yeah, the big benefit is having that emergency fund there for you. So if a car breaks down, if someone were to lose their job, if someone were to need to replace their roof or whatever it might be, medical bills, something that pops up, it's very good to have money in cash in the bank as your emergency fund because, in a year like 2022 where the stock market is down, if you didn't have a lot of money in the bank, you would have to go to your investments and then sell your investments at a loss, which is like, the number one rule of investing, buy low, sell high. And so you don't want to sell when the stock market is down. So it's important to keep that emergency fund in cash in the bank. There can be issues that arise, however, if you're keeping too much cash in the bank. So, a good emergency fund to keep, a lot of people say maybe 6 months of expenses. So, if you typically spend maybe $5,000 a month on everything, keep, $30,000 in cash in the bank. So the issues that can arise if you have too much money in the bank are maybe a couple fold. So first, of course, in 2022 and now into 2023, when the stock market is down, people can be maybe patting themselves on the back a little bit for having more cash in the bank because they say, hey, the stock market went down, people are worried about their portfolios. My cash in the bank didn't go down at all, right? It's still
like, I told you so.
Exactly, yeah, people are excited about it. But if you look over the last 10 years, the market has essentially been on a bull run since the recovery of 07, 08 financial crisis. And so if people just had that money in the bank for that entire time, of course they missed out on the 10 years of gains to avoid the 1.5 years of losses so far. So that's one risk, is not being able to see the capital appreciation in the portfolio. The second risk, which is really prevalent right now, is inflation risk.
Right. Okay. So what's going on with that, and how does it affect your funds in the bank?
Right. So everyone has heard inflation be in the news over the past year. And inflation is kind of the silent killer of your retirement funds, right? Because if somebody had, $100,000 in cash in the bank 5 years ago, that could purchase $100,000 of goods in that year.
Right.
And we kind of think about the basket of goods that it could purchase. So, $100,000 is a very healthy, annual budget, let's say. That's what you typically spend in a year. And so, $100,000 covers all of your annual budgets. Over the past 5 years, inflation has now reduced the basket of goods that $100,000 could buy. So, in the past, it covered your expenses for an entire year. Now, $100,000 only covers your expenses for 8 months. And 10 years from now, it only covers it for 3 months. Yeah. So you can just see how inflation eats away at your ability to, use the money for what it's needed for.
Right.
And so, keeping that cash in the bank can be a big risk when it comes to inflation.
Okay, so if someone does have a large amount in there, considering the stock options right now, what should they do?
Yeah, good question.
Because it's like,
Right.
teeter-totter.
Yeah, people are hesitant to say,
Yeah.
hey, I want to take my 100 grand and toss it in the stock market with all the volatility we've seen.
And then also with what we talked about last week,
Right.
with the bank crisis in some areas, I think that makes people a little bit more nervous to trust their money being locked away.
Exactly. Yeah, and if there are these people who have 250 grand in the bank or more than that, they say, hey, it's over the FDIC limit. What do I do with it? And you don't need to necessarily put it in the stock market.
Okay.
So one thing that we've been leveraging for clients is fixed annuities, okay? And this gives you a fixed return on your money. In almost all cases, it's going to be higher than what the bank is giving you in your savings account, okay? So right now, I mean, a typical fixed annuity could pay around 4.5% to 5.5% a year on your money. And so you could get that return. It takes away or at least reduces some of the inflation risk because it's keeping up at least a little bit with inflation, and it's still very, very safe when it's with a highly rated insurance company, similar to what it would be at your bank.
Okay. Well, wonderful. And I know that's just a bit of the advice that you have. There's so much more. And of course, it's personalized. Everybody's portfolio is different. So thank you so much, Caleb, for coming in and sharing that information. And if you would like more information about Foster Financial, they actually offer complimentary consultations to take a look at your portfolio and see how they can strategize and help you with your finances. We'll have their website listed below, and we'll be right back. This segment sponsored by Foster Financial.
Living Local 15, proudly driven by the Kelly Automotive Group.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you make it a fantastic day. And remember, today is Pay It Forward Day. So do something nice for someone and add that joy in the world. I look forward to seeing you here tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Have an idea for the show? Want to find out how you can be a guest? Contact us at livinglocal15@wayne.com. Content segments during today's Living Local 15 were paid for by these sponsors.